Time for our daily dose of Statehouse politics. Andrew Tobias with cleveland.com joins me now to take a look at some of the stories that will be in the capital letter for tomorrow. Andrew, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
There is a proposal. It's already made its way through a couple of stages in terms of a ballot proposal that will put limits, a 16-year limit in either the House or the Senate for state lawmakers. One Republican is speaking out about that, and that's Senate President Larry Opper, who just happens to be in his last term because of the current term limits that are already in place. What is he saying about this 16-year limit?
So he said something along the lines today that it seems to strengthen term limits in some way and that it sets a lifetime cap where there isn't one right now. But on the other hand, it would sort of weaken them in that anybody who's currently in office and gets reelected this November or is elected for the first time would then have a new 16-year lifetime of potential time that they could serve. So if I'm maybe about to run out and I get elected this November, I get another 16 years.
So is he sort of tipping us off to what he might consider? Or?
Well, he's ineligible for it himself because he is not running for re-election this November, but others, including the House Speaker, his name is Larry Householder, who otherwise would have to leave in 2024, will be able to run again. He'll get another, like I said, 16 years starting in 2021 if this thing passes.
There's a ballot initiative also for automatic voting in terms of just being able to register through the BMV. That actually got debated as well. It's been broken into 4 pieces now.
Yes. So the Ohio Ballot Board met today, and that's a state panel that basically it's the last check before one of these things can go out for signatures to be collected in order to get it on the ballot. And they said this isn't one idea, this is 4 different ideas. And so the significance of that is that the organizers behind it now will have to collect 4 times the signatures. And when you're talking about collecting 442,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, of signatures, they now have to get something like 1.7 million. So it can be the same 4 sets of people signing all 4 petitions, but it's still just a much heavier logistical lift for the campaign.
This is an ACLU-backed initiative. What are they saying about this?
They are disappointed, and they are suggesting that they may sue with the Ohio Supreme Court, which could overturn this, but of course, that's kind of a Hail Mary anytime you're hoping the courts will back you up. So I think, I don't know what they're going to do. They say they're considering their options.
Secretary of State Frank LaRose, a Republican, does support automatic voter registration. He seems to believe that there's some bipartisan support for that part of this initiative. Is that something that could go forward under these circumstances?
So he did vote to split it into 4 pieces, which, if it makes the ballot, people would be able to consider that element of it as one of 4 separate parts of this proposal. However, I have to say it seems less likely that it will pass, not only for the reason of making the ballot more difficult, but then I think it's more complicated to convince voters to approve 4 different things than it is just for one. I think there's sort of a presumption, if you're looking at something, a voter might ask, why should I vote for this? And it can be complicated to explain that to someone.
We also had an endorsement today, Cleveland Congresswoman Marcia-Fudge endorsing Joe Biden for president. What's the significance of that endorsement?
I think it's not necessarily surprising in that Congresswoman Fudge is more of an establishment politician, but it shows that Joe Biden is consolidating support among Ohio's Democratic establishment. Somebody like Marcia-Fudge, who previously endorsed Kamala Harris and then hadn't endorsed anyone, had kind of been staying out of it, and particularly given his strength in the South Carolina primary last weekend, it shows that he's continuing to get more support in Ohio.
Does it also show that he's going to need Ohio, that he's anticipating that after Super Tuesday and then, of course, the Michigan primary, he's still going to be in a situation where he's going to need to collect some delegates here?
Yeah, it's even if he has a good night on Super Tuesday, he's still likely going to be losing the delegate count. And so when you start thinking about running the numbers and trying to think about math and stuff like that, everyone counts, and Ohio's got a lot of votes in it. It has a lot of people. And so, yes, Ohio, as long as it's still competitive on March 17, it could be very important to him.
Andrew Tobias with cleveland.com. Andrew, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You can get the capital letter delivered to your inbox each morning just by going to cleveland.com/capital letter.